Now, in verse 1, it also talks about the Magi. It says, the Magi from the east came to Jerusalem. Now, these guys are some of the most famous characters in the Christmas story, and yet tradition has gotten so much about these guys wrong. So let's just go ahead and ruin your Christmas right now, okay? I'm going to ask you some questions and probably ruin your manger scenes and your Christmas cards. How many wise men were there? We don't know. Bible doesn't say. Bible doesn't say. Tradition assumes 3 because there are 3 gifts that are mentioned. During the Middle Ages, a legend developed that there were 3 of them, and that legend even named them. Anybody know their names? Yeah, I didn't either until I looked it up. Caspar was one, Balthazar, and Melchior. Okay? Those are the 3, supposedly. But we don't know how many there were. There might have been 100, might have been 1,000, might have been 2. We don't know. Did they ride camels? They do in your manger scene, right? And they do on your Christmas card, so they must have, right? Probably not. It seems that in the time of Jesus, camels were used primarily as pack animals, not to ride on. And since these wise men came from the east, these are wealthy men, well-connected men coming from the east, they probably would have ridden Arabian horses because they were swifter and they were more comfortable. So on your Christmas cards, just go cross out the camels and draw in horses, okay? Did they follow a star? Well, technically, the Bible never says followed a star. The Bible says that they saw a star and traveled toward it. Were they kings? Sorry, the whole we 3 kings thing is not supported. So I don't know if we're singing that this Sunday, but I bet you in the Christmas season we'll sing that song, and you can just point at me. I know. Okay, yeah. Not kings, but perhaps from kingly lines or had connections to royalty because Herod welcomes them. Did the Magi visit baby Jesus in the manger? No. Where'd they visit him? At a house. At a house, yeah. So Matthew tells us that by the time the Magi got to Jesus, Mary and Joseph and baby Jesus were living in a house. So a lot of what we celebrate with Christmas, the wise men, the camels, right? Even the date, we don't know. We don't know the date Jesus was born. Okay? Probably wasn't in December. So a lot of what we celebrate with Christmas is not based on fact. How should we handle that? What do you think? Huh? Is it okay to go ahead and celebrate that? Or is it something we should say, oh, let's not do that? Like, my understanding, I haven't seen the script or anything, but my understanding is the whole kids' Christmas program is about the 3 wise men. Okay? So should we stop it and say, we don't know that there were 3, put 5 up there, will you? No. So how should we handle this? It's not about the date, is it? It's about the fact that our Savior was born. And traditionally, this is the date chosen to celebrate that. So we can enter into that. We can celebrate that. Now, we don't have to, if somebody says, yeah, but we don't know he was born on that date, you could say, you're right, we don't. We don't have to argue. So I don't think we're being dishonest when we celebrate these things. I also don't think we're misrepresenting biblical truth because we're not making the date or these traditions objects of worship. We just recognize them as kind of the tradition of part of the beauty of Christmas, part of the celebration. So we can enter into that and allow for that and enjoy that. So what do we know about these wise guys? We know that there weren't necessarily 3. We know that they probably didn't ride camels, blah, blah, blah. Well, we are told that they came from the east, probably from Parthian background. This could mean that they were from Persia or Arabia. The history of Magi shows them to be skilled in astrology and astronomy. What is the difference between astrology and astronomy? Astronomy is the study of celestial bodies and their placement and their movement and so forth. Astrology is trying to figure out if and how any of that has force or influence on us. Okay? So the Bible condemns astrology because it ascribes to the heavenly planets and so forth powers that only belong to God. And it's looking to them for guidance and for understanding of future events. And so the Bible condemns astrology in that sense. The Bible heralds astronomy. The Bible says the heavens declare his glory. Okay? Have you ever looked up and you're out somewhere and it's pitch black night and you look up and you see all these stars in the sky and you just think, what an amazing God we serve. Yeah, that's part of astronomy. Okay, you're seeing the glory of God in the majesty of the night sky. So these magi were skilled in astrology and astronomy. So they would have noticed a new star, or they would have noticed a star in a different place, or they would have noticed a star all of a sudden burning brighter, and they would have assumed or tried to understand what that signified for life here on earth. And they somehow made that connection that this was the birth of royalty. Magi also practiced the occult, casting spells and interpreting dreams. Because the Magi were curious and students and knowledgeable about many things, not all of them good, as we just said, they were referred to or thought of as wise men. And kings and leaders wanted them close for their benefit. We learn from the book of Daniel that Magi were some of the highest-ranking officials in Babylon, and during the Greek and Roman empires, the power and influence of Magi continued in the eastern provinces, particularly in Parthia.